Alright, I think it's a go. How's it going, everybody? Dale Wolfhard. I want to first apologize for how long it's been since the last video. It has been a while. I have been in the midst of traveling lately, so there's been a little bit of delay in getting recording some videos and getting some videos out. But regardless, I'm here today to get you something a little bit different, something I haven't done on the channel before. We're doing Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. I play Call of Duty with a friend, but since I do not have a friend that plays Call of Duty, I shall instead be playing it on my own. Which probably is not going to be as interesting, and my stream dashboard refuses to fucking load, which is really annoying right now. So we're just gonna be playing this. They've obviously it's season 4 now, so there's a few new things, most notably Hijacked, which I'm excited to see how that's going to play. Although I was not a huge fan of Call of Duty Black Ops 2, that was one of my preferred maps in the game, as is pretty much everyone's, so no real surprise there. So, like I said, we're just going to be playing that. I don't know if there's any new weapons that I should be aware of, per se. Pretty much everything has a thing. We'll just go to that one for now. Still gotta unlock that Carve 2, which is using tactical rifles rapidly kill 2 or more players in 10 different matches. Okay, so that's basically just gonna be, hey, use tactical rifles for a while, and you'll unlock it eventually. Nothing new there. The new C58, which is actually just well, it's actually not technically a G3. It's more or less a G3, but it's kind of like somebody's clone of a G3. Because this game has done that. It did that with FARA 83 too, where it's basically a Galil, but it's I believe it's Argentina's copy of a Galil. So, kind of confusing, but oh well. Nothing new here. There's the MG82, which, again, basically just some country's copy of the MG42, with a M16A4 carry, or an M16A2 carry handle, for some odd reason. This game has a lot of weird shit in it. Anything new here? We have the AMP 63, which I believe was in Black Ops 1. But yeah, I have no real plan on using that anytime soon. No new shotguns. A new melee weapon always, but the baseball bat's not the least interesting one they could have added. And the nail gun is probably the most interesting new thing they've added. Get 5 eliminations with special weapons. Well, I only have the M79, so it's not going to be easy. In 15 different completed matches. So that's definitely not going to be the easiest thing, especially seeing as I don't have any of these, which are both get 1 shot, 1 kill, and a melee kill. Jesus Christ, that's tough. And then this one was using a weapon with no attachments. Okay, it's not terribly hard. Get 3 1-shot, 1-kill medals in 15 matches. I don't know why it's always 15 matches. It's a little annoying. But yeah, nothing of particular note here. We're just going to go through the maps. Maybe we'll encounter a new map. Maybe we won't. We're just going to play some regular old core and just kind of have a little bit of a chill day. Because this is just what I wanted to record today. Seeing as, I don't know. Because, normally I play, if I'm playing Call of Duty, I play it with someone else, but no one I know has this, so I just gotta play it on my own for now. Let's see here. So, I found the Papa-Shot, the PPSH-41, I found that to be really good in Warzone. But I guess I can get a little bit more leveling in with this game. Oh, that was quick. Immediate hijack, that's nice. Good, I won't have to wait for that. I was hoping I wouldn't, but I figured I might. But I don't. That's nice. I'm glad. I don't know who the new operator is, but frankly, I don't think I care. I haven't really been intrigued by any of the new additions to the rosters lately. Oh, now Hijacked is actually, like, off the coast of somewhere. And now we get to see this cool little slideshow, I guess. Everyone loves Hijacked. Let's go. I think the PPSH 41 is gonna be really good for this map. They really need to add more Black Ops 1 maps, though. I don't know what's taking them so long to add them in. Because they added in a bunch of Black Ops 2 maps, and they continue to do so, but they haven't added in any Black Ops 1 maps. Now that I think about it, I don't think any. Can I know there's been at least one. Actually, I don't think there has been one. Haha.
No way you
I didn't think that was gonna work. No, Woods, I would beg to differ. I think that was totally believable that he would have won that. Okay, well, then I lose that one immediately. Good start, good start. I'm glad this is good for content that we get to use, that we get to go on Hijack so quick. Well, actually, it's kind of bad for content, too. Because now there's nothing to wait for. Now there's nothing to pad out time. Well, I guess there's this. I don't think this is the only map that's been added since the last time I played, and it definitely hasn't been the only map that's been added since the last time I streamed, because, well, every map has been added since the last time I streamed. It's because I've never streamed this before. So that definitely makes that a lot easier. Okay, that was sad. I totally had that, but they just had too good a cover. They just had really good cover really quickly, and that's very upsetting. Oh, it's not an enemy, but it could have been. Well, Nuketown, I guess. Even though Nuketown's been in every Call of Duty, every Black Ops game, and it's just kind of a, at this point, it's not even really a Black Ops 1 map anymore. It's just kind of a Treyarch map. Oh, you bastard. Oh, yep, I was gonna get knocked out way too quick there after getting hit by that sumbitch. What? What the hell? Why is there a guy there? Seems a lot of people have already gotten the G3. I don't know what it's not really the G3, but I'm gonna continue to call it the G3 just because I don't know the name of the actual gun that it's officially based off of, but for all intents and purposes, the gun that it's based off of is based off of the G3. So, they just didn't feel like adding in the real one for some they need to get some Jimmy Buffett licensing for this map. Damn it. It's gonna be one of those matches, isn't it? Well, I got a good map, but I can't seem to be any good. I haven't played this in a while, though. To be fair, I played very little. Okay, I totally should have seen that guy. To be fair, I've played very little Cold War lately. Okay, well this is just a shit show. That's nice. To be fair, I have not played this game much recently. Whoa. I've definitely been sticking a lot more to... Damn it. Modern Warfare, which I haven't played a whole lot of Call of Duty lately anyway. It's mostly been racing games. God damn, the spawns on this map are just fucking abysmal. I've spawned right next to a fucking enemy almost every time. God damn it. Uh-oh. We're good. Oh, he died. Well, I guess that solves that issue, but that doesn't solve that issue. Son of a bitch, man. I'm just fucking terrible, ain't I? I'm just the fucking worst, ain't I? Okay, well, oh well. Alright, well, let's keep on keeping on, I guess. See if I can make anything out of this. Oh, shit. Okay, well, that's... Damn! He was getting shot at that whole time. How the fuck did he lose? That's just upsetting, frankly. To be fair, one of my more recent videos was on the original Black Ops, which I gotta say I enjoy a little bit more than this one. I'd say that game is a better game than Cold War, but Cold War is, just because of how new it is, I'd say has more playing value right now. Finally. God damn, it only took me 2 years. What are these fucking spawns? They spawned the whole fucking team on me. What was that? You just spawn the entire team to... Why don't you? That's what I want you to do. Oh, shit me! What are these spawns? I'm gonna grab the, let's pull out the M4 for a little bit. Let's use that command. Oh, I'm right here. Okay, well I seem to be doing a little bit better with that, so maybe I'll stray away from the Papa Shop a little bit. Ow! God damn it. That's unfortunate. What the hell is that? Wonk? Oh, that's a friendly spy plane, I think. Whoa! Oh, I forgot about this section. Can I shoot through this? Of course I can. I don't know why I tried. Okay, I'll go this way then. Uh-oh. Whoa. That's so friendly, so it's fine. Oh, what was that? Was that like one single shell casing? Got him. Okay. Sometimes, I have noticed sometimes, you know, using one weapon can just really put you in the wrong place. Because I have had, you know, like bad games completely solved by just changing the gun. Which is interesting, because it's not like I feel like I'm playing any better, it's just all of a sudden the gun just performs better. Bang. Oh my god, he's got fucking battle hardened. Damn it. Damn it, Bobby. He fucking aced his ass. What? Don't care, I'm doing a stream right now. No one cares. Go away. Alright. Oh, I don't want to get hit by that. What was this? Is that a G3? That is kind of a G3. It's pretty piss poor one. I'll get back here, motherfucker. Okay, that's unfortunate. Is that there? Oh, it's not the G3. It is a peculiar choice as to what they did with that G3, because the G3... I'm speaking mostly for the G3. I know little about the gun that they fully implemented, although I guess I could look it up. But the G3 is generally used as a battle rifle rather than a assault rifle, because it is technically, well, sorry, correction, it is a battle rifle. That's not what I meant to say, but because battle rifle just means that it's in a full caliber. Assault rifle means, you know, like the M4, it's in a smaller caliber than rifle caliber. Like it's like the G3 is a 308, the M4 is a 5.56. So the G3 is a battle rifle, the M4 is a assault rifle. Regardless, it's not often used as a full-on battle rifle. It's traditionally used like more of a it's usually used for a DMR type thing, where it's used in semi-automatic. Like I said, it's not very commonly used in its full auto configuration. So it is interesting that they decided to implement it in its full auto form, seeing as that's not very typical of its kind of presentations in various games, such as the original Modern Warfare that involved, because the original Modern Warfare had, you know, COD 4 had the G3, but it was implemented, for one, as the full-on G3, and for two, it was implemented in its semi-auto, with the fire selector switched to semi-auto instead of full auto. So the Cold War has been a game full of, well, that's not the way I would have expected them to add that gun. I mean, for one, I would have expected them to just add the regular old G3, which I gotta say, I think I'd rather use than the FAR 83. I don't know much yet, but it's kind of a slower rate, which I do kind of like. I mean, the Groza was a strange weapon to have been added from the first place, which actually, how do you get this again? Oh, it's a battle pass gun. Okay. I'm mildly disappointed about that, especially since it's level 15 or level 31, so I gotta play for a while before I get that sumbitch. That's okay. I mean, the FAR 83, like I said, I would have expected them to just add a Galil, because I mean, it's basically what it is. It's basically just a ripoff of the Galil. The Groza just doesn't make sense at all. I don't know why they added the Groza. That is just a strange weapon in the first place. What match is this? Garrison? Well, I'm going to leave the lobby because I got to go take a shit. I should have done this before the stream, but I didn't have to shit before the stream. So now you guys get to wait for me to finish taking a shit. Am I in the match anyway? What's up with this? Why is it just a black screen? I left the match, did I not? What's up? What's going on? There we go. Okay. Game session no longer available. I quit. So, duh. Alright, everybody. I will be right on back. Yeah, no, I'll be right back. Alright, ye old ship machine. We're back. Sorry about that once again. Like I said, I have no control over it. It just decided it wanted to shit then. And I didn't want to get stuck. Sorry, I had to run up the stairs to get here because well, simply put, it was the bathroom's not as close as it used to. This is like a 4-bed, 1-bath house, so it can take a minute to get to the house or back to the room from the bathroom. Anyway, what do we get here? Dry contaminant. Not impressed. Okay, anyway. And I guess there's some attachment somewhere too. Optic. Notch Sova Thermal. Is that the last one, or is that the second to last? That is the last one. I have maxed out the AK. I don't remember when I did that, but I've done that at some point. Anyway, back to it. I'm going to play a few more games, hopefully get a few more interesting maps. But I'm still going to comment on anything I can comment on. Maybe this will be a Cold War gun rants video. I'm still deciding. What other guns? So yeah, they added the Groza again. I don't quite understand this. It's basically just a bullpup AK. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. It's a strange and also ugly gun that no one really uses, but whatever. The Milano is another gun that they should have just added an actual Uzi. There wasn't really any reason to add that. Same thing with KSP-45. There's no reason not just to add the UMP-45. That's been in other games. The LC-10's just an abomination. The Carve 2, again, just a weird, not G3, G3. Or, sorry, not G11, G11. Let's do that. Let's make a gun rants video. Armada Strike. Did I see did that win over Hijacked? No. I'm not. Granted, I don't really know if it would be the best to play Hijack twice in a row, but fucking Armada Strike over Hijack? Because I do not like Armada Strike. I don't like really any of the Strike maps. It's just not really my kinda. I don't really like the maps, even though I like Crossroads is a great map in full, and I'm really good at Crossroads Strike, but I'm not a huge fan of it as a game mode. Yeah, there's a lot of bullshit in this. Apocalypse, Raid. Raid is a decent. Raid's a good map. Raid and Apocalypse are both good maps in my opinion. I will say one criticism I have. Also, my fucking character Woods' texture is rough right now, dude. Raid really doesn't get a very. Pretty much all of the Black Ops 2 ports in this game really don't have a feeling of being in the 80s. I mean, aside from older vehicles replacing, you know, the modern vehicles, you know, and some things, most of the maps they added in do not distinctly feel 80s compared to the guns that they are, or the maps that they originate from. You know, it just doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. Sure, we'll use let's use the M16 for a little bit. I mean, for the most part, aside from like a few small details, I don't get the distinct. Like, I mean, the architecture of this map, for one, is not the architecture of that of an 80s place. It is definitely a more of its time kind of architecture than what one would expect from something like this, or from a map set in the 80s. So, even though it is a good map, it's not a map that really works with the game it's in, I guess. You know, even though it's a good map, it just doesn't really work for the purpose of the game. And the same thing goes with Express, which is probably an even worse offender. Bullet trains are very much so not 80s. They are very much so, 2010s and beyond in their nature. So that was another pretty interesting decision of them, even though it was probably my favorite map to play. It was my preferred map in Black Ops 2 on the occasion that I did play it. But, God, it doesn't work in this game. I mean, Nuketown works because they purpose-built it. It's Nuketown 84. They purpose-built that, and Hijacked also just feels like it feels ported. All of them feel very similar in nature. Now, maybe some of it is the fact that I'm not that acquainted with the maps to begin with, seeing as I was never a huge fan of Black Ops 2. I feel like I might, recognize it a little quicker if it was, say, Summit from Black Ops 1, or Grid, or Jungle, or something that's a little more Black Ops 1, or that's from Black Ops 1. But it's just, I think they could have done a better job at differentiating 2025. Okay. I've never seen somebody use that crossbow before. Wow. But yeah, I think they definitely could have done a better job distinguishing 2025 maps from 1981 to 86 maps. I think they could have done a better job with that.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, they're still fun maps to play. But they you know, the bulk of Black Ops 2 maps that don't feel different enough. It's just with that many BO2 maps that don't feel like BO2 maps, or that don't feel like Cold War maps that are in the game, it makes it kind of boom. God, that flies so far. It just makes it feel less original, and to be fair, that could be what they're going with. You know, knowing the mixed reaction that the game has gotten, I guess I can't really blame them for wanting to stray away from the game feeling more like its own game and trying to steer it in the direction of you know, less original. But I mean, this game definitely has its style that it can kind of play to. I mean, the 80s are a very nostalgic time. Maybe not as much for the audience that Call of Duty draws in, but definitely overall. I mean, okay. Overall, they could definitely do a better job. You know, there's a lot of potential with the 80s as a time period that I feel like they kind of missed out on with this game. They also could have leaned more heavily on the Vietnam influences that they were clearly using with some of the campaign and the marketing material. A lot of us kind of expected this game to be a reboot of Black Ops 1, you know, be a Vietnam-era Call of Duty. And I think they definitely could have played to that a little bit more. I mean, ultimately, it's not that bad of a game. I mean, obviously, I'm playing it. I you know, voluntarily, I do enjoy playing the game. Just not as much as Modern Warfare, and not as much as you know, even some of its Treyarch counterparts from eons ago. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't blame. I think they should have definitely incorporated more Black Ops 1 maps than Black Ops 2 maps. I think that definitely would have been more in their favor with the time period that this game is set in, because you know, making an old map, you know, bringing an old map 20 years into the future is generally going to be a lot easier than bringing an old map, you know, 30, you know, 40, 50 years into the past. You know, it's not really a very easy thing. Well, yeah, 40 years in the past. It's not an easy thing to do, and I don't think they did it to the best potential that they could have. But that's beside the point. It's not beside the point. That's a criticism of this map as a whole. Wow, that sucks. He blew himself up, so I guess that doesn't suck that much. Yeah, he stuck it right on my head. Damn, that's fucked up. Ooh. So, yeah, I mean, this map is fun to play, obviously. I mean, it was a good map in one game. If they don't fuck it up, it's gonna be a good map in any game it appears in, but I mean, you can't look at this map and tell me that it feels like the 80s, you know? It doesn't. It does not feel like the 80s, and that's an unshakable... that's an unshakable projection about this game. So, ow, damn. Regardless, we're just gonna continue on because I've kind of taken out a lot of the argument I have for other maps. Like I said, like Hijacked and Express. Express is the worst offender. Express was absolutely miserable in the way that it was ported in, because it feels exactly the same as the map that precedes it. I mean, it feels no different from Black Ops 2, which is a problem. This game is set 40 40 to 35 years in the past. So, you know, there's a lot of technological difference that has occurred between 1981 to 86 and 2025. You know, there are very distinct differences in the time period. And aside from being in Cold War, the map itself has nothing to offer for the 80s other than a slightly different design other than like porting over some different cars. And that's about it. But I do still quite enjoy this map. As it pertains to just looking. Like, it looks nice. It's a nice looking map. It's a nice looking house. I would not mind living in this house. Although this house does not make sense to live in for the most part. It's you know. That is an interesting thing about map design in Call of Duty games. It's like, if you think of this, if you look at a Call of Duty map and then you try to think of it as like a normal place, you immediately realize that, yeah, no, this is definitely a Call of Duty map. Because if I walked into some place that looked like Raid, it would not feel like a real house. The architecture of it would be so strange. It's like, why would I have to walk outside to, you know, go to my, I'd have to walk outside to go to my, what I believe is the kitchen and another bathroom, but there's also one building that has a bedroom that's not connected to a different bedroom that's also not connected to other places in the house. It's like, I mean, the house makes no fucking sense. But it's a Call of Duty map, so you don't think of that. You're more just thinking about, like, the placement of cover. It's like, this cover here makes sense. Does this flow well, you know, stuff like that. It's a different thought process that goes into making a Call of Duty map compared to just doing anything else. Regardless, like I said, Express uses a bullet train, but also in the building itself, there's a lot of... I'll go to Apocalypse. I was going to select that. Fortunately, they decided to accept it. Anyway, that was nice of them. So Express, you know, gets the very distinct... is distinctly 2025. I mean, it is very much so a Black Ops 2 map. And it's kind of strange in its implementation. Oh, and there's another Black Ops 2 map that I didn't even think of. Standoff. That was added in as well, that I haven't seen that in the rotation yet. But Standoff, I was never a huge fan of. Again, why with all of the Black Ops 2 maps? They're going to add every Black Ops 2 map in the goddamn game into this game before they add a single Black Ops 1 map. Goddamn, man. It's kind of annoying, you know? But, oh well. I mean, once they add Summit, which they should be soon, it's already in Warzone. They added basically a port of it into the game, so there's already the framework. Frankly, I don't know how the hell it didn't come out this season. That is the quietest helicopter gunshots I've ever heard.
Team deathmatch.
I guess in terms of guns, I mean, obviously this game has this similar issues to any other games set in the past with some anachronistic firearms. I mean, obviously, you know, they're not going to get it perfect. No game ever will, because sometimes, you know, they just want to add it in because it's cool. Even if it doesn't really make sense for the game it's in, you know, to most people, they just, you know, the general audience that plays Call of Duty games, which is a very general audience, is not going to give a shit about, oh, this gun came out 2 years after the game, or in egregious cases came out 40 years after the game is set, such as with the FFAR. But I generally have a bigger issue with guns like the FFAR than I do with guns like the FAMAS in Black Ops 1. In Black Ops 1, the FAMAS featured, well, for one, I don't believe the original FAMAS existed yet, but what definitely did not exist yet was the FAMAS Phelan, which came out in 2009. Way after the game that it's portrayed in. So it's another one of those things, it's just like, well, what the hell were they thinking when they implemented that? You know, like, well, they were like, why did they add that particular variant of the FAMAS then, instead of adding a regular old FAMAS? You know, it's a good question. But in this game, what I find worse is that they took a gun that was very well known in, you know, I mean, the FAMAS is very well known in, okay, damn. The FAMAS is a very well-known weapon in the Treyarch series of games, being, of course, with its appearance in Black Ops 1, and being one of, if not the most used gun present in the game. So it's an obvious choice to bring back for this game, especially since it would be moderately less anachronistic than it was in the original Black Ops. But then what they decided to do was base the name of it off of a gun in a different Call of Duty. You know, they called it the what do they call it? They called it the, well, I know what they called it. I already mentioned that. So they called it, you know, the oh, I have no ammo. Maybe this one will. This one will have ammo. So, you know, they added in the FAMAS Valerie, so the FAMAS Phelan. I don't exactly know which one it is. Like I said, they added it in, and that's fine. I think it's a no-brainer, frankly, for the game it's in. But then they chose to add it in. Okay, well, I knew that wasn't gonna work, but I don't know why I tried. So they added it in, like I said, but they decided to base it, instead of off the real gun, off of a version of it from Black Ops 4, the FFAR. Oh, Christ Almighty! I don't remember exactly what it was called, but it was FFAR. There was something succeeding it, but I don't succeeding it, but I don't exactly know what that was. So, you know, so they decided to then base it off of a futuristic gun from a futuristic Call of Duty. The only reason I could think of that they would have done that was just to cost-cutting. Because there's no reason to not just add in a more accurate depiction of an already inaccurate gun. Because that's one thing that's bugged me a lot about this game, is its extremely inaccurate depictions of a lot of guns. Barring the fact that some guns have attachments that don't make any sense, or some guns are, you know, not actually existent at that time. There's still the issue of guns that don't exist, period, or at least aren't guns that are fully faithful to the guns that they're based on. Oh boy. And the FFAR is one of the biggest examples, because it was such a popular and respected gun in the game that it appeared in, and in the game that they are clearly alluding to with its presence. Oh shit. Fuck, that didn't work. So they just, you know, so they just added in a brutalized version of an already established and very good-looking gun. For no apparent reason. It's not like it makes it feel more 80s. Why wouldn't they have done that in the game, you know, to make it look more 60s when they added, you know, the FAMAS in the original Black Ops. You know, and then Black Ops 1 was technically a lot worse with its anachronistic appearances of guns, but the guns that appeared were much more faithful to the guns that they are. And like I said, it's not the only gun that has this issue. I mean, the M16 is a mess. Even though it is a fairly accurate M16, it has the wrong magazine that's labeled with the wrong number of rounds. Ow. But a lot of that comes down to petty stuff. I mean, the Magnum is another gun that doesn't really exist. You can tell it was based off of just any old, it was just kind of meant to be generic revolver, which I feel like in a Call of Duty, that's always been fairly based on replicating, but kind of arcadying, wartime. Why would they add such fake guns? I get that in some instances, but why now? And Modern Warfare had a little bit of this issue as well with stuff like the Renetti, where they took a very established, very omnipresent gun in pop culture, the Beretta M9, or the Beretta 92, depending on the appearance, but then decided to make it fake. Whoa. They took the M9, but then kind of changed up some of the features and meddled with its appearance a little bit to make it look faker. But why? If you take a look at some of the older games, they didn't do that. In fact, most of the guns were named similarly, if not identically, to their real-life counterparts. But now they've started taking a different direction, and it's been kind of annoying as a firearm fan. As a gun guy, it's not been a very pleasant transition, but, I mean, what are you really going to do about it, What are you really going to do about it? So, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but they could definitely do a little bit better of a job, I would say. The Bullfrog is another gun, which we saw in that replay there. The Bullfrog is based off of the PP-19 Bison. PP-19? That doesn't sound right. Hold on. That's not right at all. Unless it is. Oh, it is right. The PP-19 Bison. Sorry, I got myself a little bit confused there. So yeah, the PP-19 Bison, which if you've ever seen one, or if you even look at the one in previous games, I'm trying to think of what game it was last featured in. I don't actually know, because I'm not a huge fan of the gun. But if you take a look at the PP-19 Bison, it looks nothing like that. I mean, you can see they took the general, aesthetics down, but then they just spun it wildly. I mean, if we take a look at other guns, the Krig 6 is another interesting choice. So, I believe this one is the, it's not the AK. Normally, you would expect them to add the AK-5. Or no, they did add, sorry, they added the AK-5. Which is a Swedish version of the already existing FNC, or Fabrik National Carbine. It's not a very good name. So they added in a rifle that's based off of a real rifle. Why wouldn't they just add the rifle it's based off? Diesel. I like Diesel. Great for pickup trucks, and it's a good map. Yee. But the FNC would have made more sense than the AK-5, so it makes you question, why the hell did they add the AK-5? The XM177, which in this game is titled the M4, the XM4, so it's named the XM4 in the game, which is a real M4, which is not the same as the gun that's depicted. That gun makes sense. It was It was iconic in the, it was iconic in the game that a lot of this game is a callback to. And it makes perfect sense for it to appear in the game. Why they decided to call it the XM4 instead of either calling it the Commando again or calling it the XM177 is something of a mystery, but again, that's something you can say the same thing about the entire game.
We've lost the lead.
Memory serves, the AK in this game is an AKM, even though it would have made more sense to have added in an AK-47. Actually, that's incorrect. It would not have, but it's called an AK-47. It would have actually made more sense to add in the AKS-7, not the AKS, just the AK-74, which would have been accurate, seeing as it was released in 1974. But games very rarely depict the AK-74, which is basically an AKM, which is an AK-47, but slightly different. The AK-74 is basically an AKM, but in a different caliber, and so it has a few different design features that are notable, but most notably is that difference in caliber, because that difference in caliber also changes up the look of the magazine. That does change the look of the gun itself decently well when the magazine is there. So, ooh. So again, that's another questionable decision as to why they choose to add the AKM that's called the AK-47. Especially because, you know, in Modern Warfare they have the excuse of the War on Terror. Predominantly, a lot of you know, fighters in a lot of Al-Qaeda and various other you know, whatever else we happen to be fighting against, be it Al-Qaeda or something else, depending on what's depicted, they predominantly use AKMs, so the presence of the AKM or the AK-47 makes total sense, you know, but in a game set against predominantly actual Russians, the non-presence of the accurate Soviet rifle at that time, you know, isn't as excusable. And actually, the Modern Warfare should have also contained, an AK-12, or the AK-12, seeing as some of the game does take place against the Russians, and it would have made more sense to use their current rifle at that time. Again, they just do what's cooler, not what's more accurate. But at least with Modern Warfare, they implemented a gun called the AK-47. And they actually implemented the AK-47 instead of just AKM, but with extra steps. AKM, but with a different name. Did not work. So, what else is there? I don't have too many complaints about the SPAS 12. The Diamatti is an interesting one because it's one of probably the only guns in the game that gets a reverse gun rant. Instead of being okay, let's start this a little bit differently. So, in most Call of Duty games that it appears in, so this gun is the Beretta Model 93R, which is a 3-round burst version of the Beretta 93, more commonly associated with the Beretta 92 or the M9. So the 93 is a little bit different in its appearance, and for once they actually model that. Commonly, the Beretta 93R is basically a 3-round burst M9. It was featured that way in Modern Warfare, and it was featured that way in Modern Warfare 2 as well, and any other game that it happens to appear in that I may have neglected to mention. So, that's not good. So at least for once they accurately represented it there. I couldn't get the assassination, but that's okay. No big deal. So for once they actually did accurately depict it. They added in those, or they modeled in the difference in appearance, even though it is uglier, and frankly sometimes I would rather them use just the M9. I can appreciate the attention to detail that has been omitted from almost all of the rest of the game. Damn it. The Stoner 63 is an interesting addition in the game. So the Stoner 63 is a real gun. It is its real name. It was made by Eugene Stoner, the same maker of the AR-15 rifle. That, of course, is so well known and respected today. Oh. The Stoner 63 was added into Black Ops 1 originally, but it was added in its rifle configuration. Even though it was still listed as a light machine gun, it was in the assault rifle, in its assault rifle configuration. So, but in this game, they decided to go all out and make it its actual light machine gun configuration instead of basically just making it a heavy rifle. And I can definitely respect that, because it's one of the few guns that can do that, that has that modularity to be multiple classes of weapon at once. And I do wish that they had more implemented that characteristic as a gameplay feature. Kind of like how there are... kind of like how there are... You know, or kind of like the 60-round mags on the, what gun was it in Modern Warfare? The... What's it called? The Bruin. Just like how the Bruin has 60-round mags, and you can kind of convert that into an assault rifle rather than a light machine gun. Again, it's not a full-on conversion, but it does have a much more common trait. You know, I do wish they would have implemented that a little bit more into the game, but of course, I do appreciate that they used its light machine gun configuration. If they were going to categorize it, at least, you know, they accurately built it to the specs of what they're going to categorize it as. Ow, ow, ow. God damn, what the hell is that gun? Yeah, fuck, nerd. The Howard 77 is in real life the Ithaca 37. I don't have too many complaints about that gun. It seems there's nothing that immediately sticks out to me that's notable either for or against it. I wish they would have just titled it the more accurately. And I think it does have a little bit of a kind of a generic shotgun look to it. You know, they kind of took some of the Ithaca influences out. But it's not enough as to where you can't identify that it's an Ithaca, so, you know, I'll take that at least. What else is there? The FAR 83 is another, again, I've mentioned it a little bit earlier, it doesn't really make sense to be what it is in the game. I think it would have made it clearly they were going for Galil. If you look at just the way it's designed, you can tell that they added it in because it looks like the Galil, but isn't. And that is just kind of an odd consistency throughout the whole game. Really? That's how the final kill goes? Okay, I could barely fucking see this guy. At least it's best play instead of final kill, because that was just dog shit right there. Oh, there's another pretty big one I have complaints about. The LW3 Tundra, known in real life as the Accuracy International Arctic Warfare. I believe it's the Arctic Warfare Magnum, but it could be a Precision Marksman. Or the PM. So, the Arctic Warfare is, I mean, it's a pretty, you know, iconic rifle. It's a pretty iconic sniper rifle. But it is kind of confusing as to why they chose to add it in the configuration that it's in. Or not really the configuration, but they butchered it. They butchered the shit out of it. If you've seen an OP, you know, in an Arctic Warfare Police or OP, AWP, in, if you've seen that in Counter-Strike, or if you've seen the pretty much anywhere else, you know that this kind of looks like it. You know, when you look at it and go, that looks right. But then if you look up the Arctic Warfare, you'll quickly realize that it absolutely is not. The Pellington 703 is another example of a fairly accurate gun, but a very inaccurate name. They called it the Pellington 703, but it's basically an exact copy of the R700 from Modern Warfare 1, or just, as it's known in real life, the Remington 700 with a synthetic stock and a bipod. The optic also has a rail, which I'm not sure if that was accurate of the time just yet. I think that might be slightly inaccurate. Checkmate. Not a huge fan of this map. I really like Diesel. Not a huge fan of this map. This map was kind of part of the reason the launch of this game was so disappointing. As a person who played the beta and the alpha and the beta, you know, a lot of the maps that were going to be added in, I had already gotten, you know, some experience with. So Checkmate and Garrison, the two new maps, the two new 6v6 maps added in at launch, were kind of disappointing. Mostly because, you know, when the game released, you know, they added these two maps, and everyone was just kind of like, this is what we're provided with.
Team deathmatch.
This is what, you know, we buy this new, you know, we buy this new game, you know, at least for people who had played the original game. So it's like we buy this game, and this is all that's new. Oh, come back, please. Thank you. Appreciate it.
This isn't working.
And actually, I mean, the Swiss K31 is another example of weird gun, because it's a straight pull bolt-action rifle, which if you watch me fire, you'll notice that it just pulls it straight back. He doesn't, you know, push up, pull back, push forward, push down. It's kind of all a different, you know, it's a different motion where it's just pull back, push forward. It's not a terribly iconic weapon. It has a little bit of notoriety, but generally there are other rifles, especially in the World War II era or similar bolt-action rifle category, where they could have added the Mauser, you know, or they could have added, of course, the, you know, the good old, I mean, there were so many options there, because for whatever reason I can't think of the German rifle at the time, but there's the Mosin, there's the Lee Enfield, there's the M1903 Springfield. There are all sorts of wood-stocked bolt-action rifle, you know, wartime wood-stocked bolt-action rifles. And they didn't choose any of them. They instead chose a Swiss straight bolt. It was definitely a strange revelation when it was announced, and not, it was, you know, there was never really any, oh, I see. It's just another one of those things where they chose to take, you know, they chose, okay, we want to add a wood-stocked, you know, World War II or so era, you know, bolt-action rifle. And then somebody, I guess, just requested, what if you add this thing? And they go, okay, sure. Because it's like when they add a new gun, they take a list, you know, they first write down what they want, you know, the style of weapon they want. In this case, like I said, World War II era bolt action. And they go, okay, so I've heard of Springfield, the Lee Enfield, the Mauser, and the Mosin, so we're just not going to add those. We're going to find something else to add other than the ones that people are familiar with. And to some extent, that's a valiant effort, you know. Shine some light on some other guns that could potentially end up getting a lot of star power as a result. And I will say, I do really like the reticle on the Swiss K31.
Enemy spy plane inbound.
Fuck. So it's like, to some extent, I can respect their decision to decide to implement some rifles that people are a little less familiar with than the opposition. But at the same time, there just really wasn't a whole lot of. But at the same time, a lot of people, you know, want guns that they're familiar with. It's a lot easier to drop hype, especially for a game that's not as well regarded. you know, it'd be much easier to drop some hype with some guns that people are familiar with. You know, get people come into the game by just implementing some guns that people find more interesting. You know, that will catch people's attention quickly, like the Lee Enfield, or the Mauser, or the Springfield would. But at the same time, you know, there's, you know, like I said, in one hand, I think it's respectable to give some notoriety to other guns that people might not be as familiar with. There we go. But at the same time, it just doesn't make much sense for them to do it, especially in a game that's kind of hemorrhaging its own notoriety. It's not like they're going to get a whole lot of notoriety out of being present in this game because, well, it's not a very good game. But like I said, I mean, the Galil. The Galil is a very popular gun that a lot of people wanted to see added in. And they added, and then they kind of appeased that, but, I mean, it's like, you know, it's kind of like a genie. You know, where you tell a genie to get you something, and it's like they walked up to the genie that is Activision and said, "I want a Galil in Cold War," but they don't quite specify, so they end up getting something that's kind of a Galil. You know, it's like it just does. I don't get why they chose to do it in the way that they did instead of just, you know, giving you a Galil or giving you a you know, anything else. I mean, at least they did well on the hand of the Papa-Shah. Same thing goes for the Uzi, where they added the Milano, which is kind of an Uzi, but not really.
Hostile spy plane established.
And I guess that you could just chalk that up to this game being kind of a Black Ops game, but not really. So, in all fairness, I think it does kind of suit the game well, where it's all just like, this is what you expected, but you get something that's kind of like it, but isn't it. So, maybe there is a reason behind that, after all, and I just kind of am dumb. Yeah, that's probably it. I do wish they would have added the M16A1, but I do think that the M16A2 is a more distinctly 80s thing relative to the A1. And I think that the A2 does not get much light shined on it as an M16 variant, which, I mean, the M16 has a lot of clout in the world of firearms. But the M16A2 is not represented as often as its A1 or A4 counterparts.
HVA's opposition has pulled ahead.
Although it's semi implemented in a lot of games. If they don't specifically choose an A1 or an A4. I mean, the M4, or in this case, the XM177, or the Colt Commando, which I'm just going to continue referring to as the Commando. Also, it smells like fucking skunk in here. It smelled like fucking skunk in here all day. But it's been like a very subtle skunk, but it's still fucking skunk. It's not like it smells good. Or it's not like, well, you know, it could be worse. It's like, I don't want to fucking smell this anymore. I'm not having a good time. I don't like it. But, oh well. What are you going to do about it, right? Put simply, this game really can just be summed up by, well, you expected Black Ops 1 too. So we're gonna give it to you, but kinda. Here's Black Ops 1 2. You know, it's like, they really just didn't commit, I guess. That's what they didn't do. They didn't commit. They're just kind of half-assing everything and calling it a day. So I'm gonna see what map that is up on the docket next, and if it's something I don't want to play, then we'll end the stream here. But if it's something I do want to play, okay. I'm gonna select Express. I'm fine with Nuketown as well, but Express gives me a little bit more to talk about. Obviously they chose Nuketown. No surprise there. But, you know, oh well. Not upset about it. I like both maps. I like Nuketown more. I just thought that it would be kind of better for the sake of the stream to get something I could really just complain about a little more. But Nuketown 84 is one of my favorite Nuketowns. I feel like they did a pretty good job with this. Definitely better than BO3. Maybe better than BO2, but not better than BO1, and definitely not better than BO4. I really liked BO4s because it's a snow map. I really like snow maps. Which, all in all, if I'm being completely honest, I don't really mind this game's map selection. Aside from a few of the fairly mediocre launch maps, well, pretty much all the launch maps were pretty mediocre. All of the maps that followed launch have been pretty decent. I mean, they added Yamantau last season, which was a decent map. Okay, well, that didn't work. Ow. I mean, they added... I mean, a bulk of the maps that they added post-launch have been maps that I have not had an issue playing, and in some instances have quite liked. I don't think any of them have the possibility of being in Classic, but I don't think any maps anymore have any capability of being in Classic. I think now that Call of Duty's been running for as long as it has, it's really hard for it to have Classics anymore. I know. With, it's really hard for there to be any more Classics, with the fact that most of the audience of this game has kind of grown up. And the audience that hasn't is not going to look back on it the same way that people did back, you know, when, as kids, when Black Ops 1, 2, and Modern Warfare 1 and 2, and World of War, and all those games came out. So, like I said, I mean, it's... I do, honest to God, like this game. It's still... I mean, it's maybe like a 7 out of 10 on the overall scale. It's a decent game. I honestly don't mind playing it. But I don't find as much excitement for it as I find in other games, other than the fact that it's new. And I feel like as more games come out, especially with whatever game Sledgehammer chooses to come up with next year, which is looking like it might be... I think it's World War II. I think it's a new World War II game, which I am very excited for. I think a new World War II game is desperately needed after the failure that was COD World War II. But this game, I feel like doesn't have a lot of staying power. And once the content's been, you know, done and over, I think it's going to be in a much better state than it was at launch. And it's going to be a much more enjoyable game than it was at launch, especially with that Zombies Outbreak mode. But ultimately, there's a lot of mediocrity that this game pushes, a lot of missed opportunities, a lot of shitty guns, mediocre maps. You know, this game is very mixed, but overall positive. Because if I didn't like it, I just simply would not be playing it. Like, there's no two ways about it. If I don't like a game, I'm not going to play it. I'm not obliged to, like some YouTubers are, to play, you know, the newest game on the block. Or to play, you know, I can play whatever fucking game I want. I'm only going to get, at most, 10 or so views out of this video. So, you know, there's no real expectations or standards I need to meet with this, so I can play any game I want. And so clearly you can tell that I want to play this game, seeing as I am actively playing it when I have no real necessity to. and even YouTubers who would ordinarily have to play it, I've just kind of supplemented it with other Call of Duties. I mean, Modern Warfare and Warzone have still been kicking some serious ass, and they're not going anywhere. Although I will say, Cold War has done its job in Warzone because a bulk of the weapons that tend to be meta outside of the assault rifle world are Cold War weapons. Aside from the fact that all but one of the assault rifles in Cold War, or in the Warzone meta, only one of them is from Cold War. But in pretty much everything else, Cold War is quite a mainstay. The submachine gun market, Cold War is pretty much unbeatable. Papa-Shah, the LC-10 being decently popular, the Mach-10 being extremely popular, and even the MP5, especially in the early days of Cold War, seeing quite a bit of use. It dominates in that department. In the, it doesn't really dominate in the sniper section. That definitely remains Modern Warfare, with mostly with the what is it, although the HDR is still decently popular, I definitely see more, what am I seeing more of? The Kar98. The Kar98K. I have been thinking about that all day. I kept calling it the Mauser earlier, which is technically Mauser, but I couldn't think of Kar98. Now I can think of Kar98. The Kar98 definitely dominates over the other ones, as, you know, wasn't as prevalent, but in Cold War, snipers have never really caught on. The M16 is still decently prominent. The Carv 2 was picked up a lot, but it's not involved in a whole hell of a lot of loadouts. If we just continue taking a look at some other Cold War weapons, we'll see that a bulk of Cold War weapons are used, and it's an interesting one. Even though pretty much no Cold War weapons are used in the original meta of assault rifle, and, you know, assault rifle and sniper, or marksman. Light machine guns obviously are never meta, other than the Bruin, but it takes a lot for one of those to be meta. The submachine guns, I mean, the Milano's not too terribly uncommon. The Mach 10's very common, the LC 10's very common, the Papa-Shah's decently common. The Krieg 6, oh yes, the FFAR. I neglected to think of that for a moment. The FFAR is definitely a very popular rifle in its appearance. Collateral, I've never seen that before. That's new. I guess we'll take a look at that one real quick, because I am not at all familiar with that. This is not a gun that I know of. Alright, we've been going for about an hour 15 now. It's 13, but, you know, close enough. I don't know what's going to be good here, so we'll just use the M4, because that's a good starting line. Off the bat, I'm not... Okay. Because I was about to say off the bat, I'm not too terribly intrigued by this. This looks a lot like a Ghosts map. I believe a Ghosts DLC map, but a Ghosts map nonetheless. Some of these areas looked very... I guess let's see how this,
Team deathmatch.
looks. Okay, dude. No reason for that. I guess I'll go up the satellite. Everyone else is going up the satellite. I might as well go. Whoa, okay. I guess I don't really have to jump there from the looks of it. Ooh.
We're pulled ahead.
How big is this map? Looked a lot bigger from the preview, but maybe that's just the nature of it. I mean, I'm trying to think of a map that's been added to Cold War that I'm not at all a fan of. Oh, almost all of the interesting section was a restricted area. That's not a part of the map. That section looked badass.
We're pulling ahead.
Keys down.
That was the section that looked a little bit like a ghost map. And to be fair, it entirely might be. But
This isn't working.
the rest of this just looks like a regular old map.
Threat
We're in the
neutralized.
lead.
A lot of verticality. A lot of up and down, which is not not typical of most maps. Maps are decently level. With a few, you know, staircases, but this one's distinct in the sense that it doesn't have any staircases. Well, okay, that's a lie, as I walk immediately up a staircase. The main ways of changing verticality is not exclusively staircase. A lot of it is just climbing up.
Frag out.
Shit. I don't know where that grenade went. That scares me. Okay, well, it didn't go to me. Pick up that machete. Oh, hell yeah. That was a fancy move right there. I'm gonna run around with this sumbitch. I'm gonna get killed, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Locate.
Oh, get fucked. Alright, that's all the luck I'm gonna get out of that, bud. That's all the luck I'm gonna get out of that motherfucker. I'm gonna put that down. I'm usually not a huge fan of desert maps, and you know, fairness, I don't think that really changes with this one. It's definitely a unique map. Compared to all the launch maps, I mean, the closest thing this is like is Satellite, which coincidentally it also contains a satellite, but it is distinctly different. I don't think I've ever seen a map like this, which I'm very happy about, because even though there's reason for it, it's not the most aesthetically pleasing location, nor does it really have anything to do with any location in the campaign ever. It's still an interesting addition, and I still find it interesting that they chose to include it. Not that they chose to include it, but that they chose to make it. That they chose to add this, you know, because it's a very different map. And I mean, Diesel kind of started that, I guess, because Diesel, you know, is different in a very similar way. Which sounds like an oxymoron, but I swear it's not. Well, it probably is, actually. But yeah, I kind of like this map. It's not a map that I think I'm ever going to go, ooh, yay, this map. But it's certainly a map that if they select it, I'm not going to complain about it like I did with pretty much all the base game maps. Garrison, Checkmate, Armada Strike, Crossroads Strike's probably the exception. Satellite, I was not a fan of Satellite. Pretty much all of them. I'm trying to remember all of the base game maps, because I know there was at least one that I did like. But I can't recall it at the moment. Yeah, I was not aware of this map's presence. I probably could have been aware of this map's presence, I guess, had I have been, you know, watching, or not watching. Had I have been, I keep losing my train of thought. This is the issue with streaming, is that sometimes you'll have to pay attention to something else. And holy shit. Oh. That explains it. I was wondering how I got blown the fuck away that much by a handgun. But that's because it's a hand cannon, which a hand cannon...
Hostile spy plane established overhead.
The hand cannon is a very interesting addition to the game as well. Clearly, it's influenced by the Desert Eagle, which is chambered in 50 Action Express, commonly referred to just as 50 AE, which is not the same as your traditional 50 cal. Generally, when people think of 50 cal, they think of 50 BMG, which is what the Barrett is chambered in, and various heavy machine guns. Well, not various. Well, yeah, various. We'll go with various, because I can't think of the one at the moment, so.
Hostile spy plane
It's
established
various.
overhead.
Let's see if I can think a little more clearly here. Okay, so, it's still, the only reason it's 50 cal, you might be wondering, 'cause, I mean, it's still a very powerful handgun round. because there's a lot of powder behind it, but that 50 caliber is not terribly important to the performance or lethality of that handgun. Although the diameter of the bullet does have a minor effect on how effective the round is. Generally, it you know, depends on what you're looking to do. Because larger projectiles, for example, comparing 50 to, say, 22, which 22 is technically what's in the AR-15. It's a 5.56, which is 223. It's just a tiny bit larger than what is commonly thought of as 22. 50 caliber, which is half an inch, or I believe 12.7 millimeter. That
Hostile RC.
is associated with power because of 50 BMG, but it is also a very large diameter round. Very few rounds are larger than 50 caliber. If they are, chances are they are mentioned by their millimeter title, not their not by their title caliber. Regardless, those, they tend to be heavier and slower. Take, for example, the 45 ACP, which is another handgun round that's in a very large diameter. It's slower, but it's larger. It's going to create a larger wound just because of the fact that it takes up more immediate space, so it's going to deal more damage, but it's not going to be very effective against armor. Whereas something like 223, which is very small, but it is very fast and it's very small. So it's kind of like the difference to some extent between the tip of a regular pocket knife. Okay, this is Miami Strike and Crossroad Strike, so we're canceling that out. Miami Strike's not bad, actually. I don't mind Miami Strike, but I'm almost done anyway. So we're just doing a little, we're just doing a quick little caliber lesson, and then we're gonna discontinue the stream. So 2G3, which is what's in an AR-15, is very small but very fast. Now that's a rifle round, so it's a little bit different than 50 AE. But you can even think of it just with 9mm, which is a little bit smaller, a little bit faster, a little bit more effective against armor. Although you're going to be looking more at 5.7, which is another handgun round popularized by the P90 and the FN 5.7, among others. That is a handgun length cartridge that is designed to be very effective against armor because it's small and fast. Like I said, it's kind of like the difference between the tip of a pocket knife and the tip of a butter knife. The smaller the point is, the sharper, in a sense, it's going to be, and the more effective it will be at poking through something. Whereas the reason, you know, a butter knife is so dull is because it has a wider surface area. You know, I mean, that's why it's harder to get a cardboard paper cut going against the length of, you know, a full cardboard thing compared to a sheet of paper. A sheet of paper's thinner, so it will penetrate much easier, whereas a cardboard needs a different kind of force to go through skin. And the same thing goes for any kind of bullet. So that is how cartridges work. Still, like I said, the 50 AE is still a really powerful cartridge, but not because of the fact that it's 50 caliber, but because of the fact that it is pretty much all that goes into the power of a cartridge is, or a bullet, is the powder. The larger the case is, the shell casing, the larger that is, the more powder that will be in it, and as a result, the more powerful the round will be. Another 50 is 50 Beowulf, which is an intermediate between the pistol caliber 50 AE, which has a shorter case length overall, and the technically rifle round 50 Browning machine gun, or 50 BMG. The 50 BMG has a very long case, which means that it has a lot of powder behind it, and as a result, a lot of force, which is why it's made to be anti-material instead of anti-personnel. The 50 Beowulf, on the other hand, is basically a 50 caliber cartridge designed to function with standard AR-15 mags. Obviously, you need to change the AR-15 they go into, but if you have a regular AR-15 mag lying around, you can load it with 50 Beowulf, and so long as you're loading it into a gun that's chambered in Beowulf, you'll be able to fire it. It's not terribly, it's not as powerful as 50 BMG, but it's still more powerful than 50 AE, although it hasn't caught a lot of traction because it's not as effective as some other cartridges are. So, that's your that's your fairly lengthy lesson on how cartridges work, and my other aspects of gun rant as well as just game rant in general on good old Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. That concludes the stream. Hopefully this does well. I've yet to upload this this game, but I have uploaded other Call of Duties to mixed results. Pretty much everything's got mixed results, though. The channel's not big enough to get consistent results on anything, so there's no real concerns here. If you're watching this on Twitch, this goes up on YouTube at under DaleWolfHart14, spelled exactly the same, displayed exactly the same. This is the first of its kind, but you can also watch various other Call of Duty videos. The channel video for non-subscribers, I believe, is Warzone. So if you'd like to see more solo Call of Duty content, then you can watch some of that. Or if you want to see multiplayer Call of Duty content, I have a Black Ops 1 video up, as well as my first video being a Modern Warfare video. Not my first video, but one of my first videos. And other stuff like it. If you're watching this on YouTube, I stream this live at twitch.tv/DaleWolfHart. If you want to catch any of these videos live, I stream other things, not just Modern Warfare. I also stream pretty much anything else up on the channel. Fallout 4, Minecraft is a very common one, NASCAR Heat 5, which I will continue to make because the last Xfinity Series video did really good. And pretty much anything else that I play, although that's pretty much everything I think I've streamed to this point. So, that concludes it. Alright, everybody, I've been Dale Wolfhart, and I ask that you have a good rest of your day. Have a good one, everybody.